Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Under the module, we will focus on introduction to the environment impact assessment, commonly called EIA, then evolution of EIA, history, its objectives, then various methods to carry out EIA, types of EIA, steps in EIA, and in the last briefly about EIA in India. So, introducing with the term EIA or environment impact assessment is a stepwise process of identification, evaluation, monitoring and management of the potential impacts of proposed projects on the environment of the local area. It provides opportunities to minimize proposed environmental damage. The main purpose of EIA is to provide information regarding the impacts of project on environmental, ecological, cultural, social and economic components of project area to the decision makers for decision making and policy transformation. EIA works on the principle of sustainable development to ensure nil or minimum environmental degradation due to proposed project. It also takes into account the short term, mid term and long term effects on the demography, ecology and environment of the area. In simple words, EIA is a planning tool for decision making regarding the starting or denying of proposed project based on the measurable environmental and social impact of the proposed activity. Briefly discussing about its evolution, the 20th century has been regarded as the century of revolutions and overall growth. EIA is formulated to face against following major challenges. Number 1, ecological imbalance and environmental destruction, environmental safety, rapidly increasing population, agriculture production, increased urbanization and industrialization, increased pollution due to anthropogenic activities, and finally, sustainable development. Evolution of EIA. The process of EIA was first started in USA in the early 1970s with the implementation of the National Environment Policy Act 1969. The other developed or high income countries like Australia, Canada and New Zealand also followed the footsteps of US and formally started the EIA. This was further strengthened by the efforts of the World Bank, which adopted EIA in 1989. The main strength came from the Rio Earth Summit 1992. The three documents of Rio with Principle 17, Article 14 and Agenda 21 played very important role for the consolidation of EIA. The Principle 17 of the Rio Declaration on Environment and Development states that environmental impact assessment as a national instrument shall be undertaken for proposed activities that are likely to have a significant adverse impact on environment and are subject to a decision of a competent national authority. The chapter 8 of Agenda 21 titled Integrating Environment and Development in Decision Making recommends environment impact assessment should extend beyond the project level to policies and programs. Likewise, The Article 20, likewise, the Article 14, titled Impact Assessment and Minimizing Adverse Impacts of the Convention on Biological Diversity, states that each contracting party, as far as possible and as appropriate. Further, the evolution and history of EIA is discussed in these tables in detail. Here in the table, we can see that pre-1970, project review was based on the technical, engineering and economic analysis. Limited consideration was given to environmental consequences. However, in early or mid 70s, EIA introduced by NEPA in 1970 in US. Basic principle was guidelines, procedures including public participation, requirement instituted. Standard methodologies for impact analysis were developed. Canada, Australia and New Zealand became the first countries to follow NEPA in 1973 to 1974. Unlike Australia, which legislated EIA, Canada and New Zealand established administrative procedures. Major public inquiries helped shape the process development. Then late 1970s, in 1970 it was also introduced in China, late 1970s and early 1980s. The process of EIA was more formalized guidance. Other industrial and developing countries introduced formal EIA requirements. France in 1976, Philippines 1977, began to use the process informally or experimentally, or adopted elements such as impact statements or reports as part of the development applications for planning permission. Use of environment assessment by developing countries, Brazil, Philippines, China, Indonesia. Strategic environment assessment or risk analysis included in environment assessment processes. Greater emphasis was on ecological modeling, prediction and evaluation methods. Provision for public involvement in processes related to environment. Coordination of environment impact assessment with land use planning processes. 1974, in Malaysia, Environment Quality Act was introduced. Mid 1980s to end of decade, in Europe, EC, Environment Clearance Directives on EIA establishes basic principle and procedural requirements for all member states, increasing efforts to address cumulative effects. World Bank and other leading international aid agencies establish environment assessment requirements. Spread of EIA process in India. After that, in 1990s, requirement to consider transboundary effects under ESPO Convention, increased use of geoinformation systems GIS and other information technologies, sustainability principle and global issues receive increased attention. India also adopted the EIA formally. Formulation of EA legislation by many developing countries, rapid growth in EA training. 1994, in India, Union Ministry of Environment and Forests formulated EIA notification under Environment Protection Act 1986. In 1997, Environment Protection Act in Nepal. In the same year, Environmental Impact Assessment Ordinances in Hong Kong. 1998, in Sri Lanka, the National Environment Act. 2004, in Russia, state authority responsible for conducting the state EIA in Russia. 2006, in India, Ministry of Environment and Forest occurred major amendments in 1994 rules. 2012, Canadian Environment Assessment Act. 2015, introduced the Federal Permitting Improvement Act for improvement of National Environment Protection Agency. Objectives of EIA. The basic objectives of EIA are to consider environmental factors in the decision-making process of any project, identify potential environmental, social, and economic impacts of proposed activities, take steps at initial stages to minimize adverse environmental impacts, promote sustainable development through environmental management plan by either alternatives or mitigation measures. Public participation in decision making of the establishment of proposed activity. Then, methods to carry out EIA. The methods available to carry out EIAs can be divided into general and industry specific assessment methods as described below. Industrial products. To identify and measure the impact of industrial products on environment, and the used method is life cycle analysis LCA. LCA assesses the environmental impacts associated with all stages of product's life from raw material extraction to its final disposal or recycling. The impact assessment objectives of LCAs take into consideration of environment concerns by making an inventory of inputs in terms of raw materials, natural resources, energy, and release of pollutants in environment. Evaluate the environmental impacts associated with identified inputs and releases, interpreting the results to help or make decision. Types of LCA. Number 1, cradle to gate. It considers raw materials to finished goods but does not consider its use or end life. Another is cradle to grave. It considers from harvesting of materials to final disposal of finished goods. The second category is genetically modified plants. The development of genetically modified plants GMP requires strict assessment of safety and potential impact on the crops on the environment, human or animal health. GMP RAM and in INOVA are some specific methods for EIA of genetically modified organisms. The GMP RAM is an electronic tool or software for evaluation of safety and potential risks related to the use of genetically modified plants. The use of this software provides a transparent process for risk assessment. Similarly, INOVA Innova Tech system is used for impact assessment of technological innovation. Then third is fuzzy logic. There are many environmental impacts which cannot be quantified, and in order to measure data to estimate values of such impact indicators, information from similar EIAs, community sentiment and expert judgment are used. The approximate reasoning methods used are called fuzzy logic. For example, landscape quality, life cycle quality, for example, landscape quality, lifestyle quality, social acceptance, etc. Next, we will discuss Hierarchy in EIA. The EIA studies are mainly categorized as number 1, site selection studies. These studies focus on the selection of alternative sites, keeping in view of the environmental benefits and project attributes such as infrastructure facilities, markets, availability of raw materials, etc. The objective of such studies is the ranking of site alternatives for decision making. Number 2, rapid or comprehensive studies. The assessment period for one season monitoring baseline data is, that is 3 month period, is called rapid EIA. Rapid EIA is conducted when a fair amount of knowledge is available about the proposed site or the impacts of the proposed development. The rapid EIA also makes a base for comprehensive EIA. However, when the assessment of baseline data is based on 3 seasons monitoring, that is 9-month period, it is called comprehensive EIA. Then number 3 are regional studies. As the name indicates, these relate to a particular region. The studies are based on seasonal data collection, analysis of air, water and land components of the environment. Number 4 are carrying capacity studies. Carrying capacity studies are conducted to analyze the resource availability, utilization, infrastructure, congestion, supply demand ratio and assimilative capacity or residuals. The sustainable development is the key principle for this study. It has been observed that one or more natural resources become a limiting resource in a given region, thereby restrict the development activity. In the last few decades, governments of various countries have realized that EIA has to be an integral part of the project life cycle, from project conceptualization to post-implementation corrective action. The Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Government of India has also sponsored carrying capacity studies for different reasons. These studies involve inventorization of natural resources available, preparation of the existing environmental settings, prospective plans and their impact on natural resources through creation of business as usual scenario, identification of hotspots requiring immediate remedial action to overcome air, water or land pollution, formulation of alternative development scenarios including a preferred scenario. Then types of EIA. Environmental impact assessment has been classified into 4 types. Number 1 is strategic environment assessment. Strategic environment assessment is the analysis of environmental effects of developmental policies, plans and programs. The purpose of SEA is to assist in sound environmental decision making by improvement over the EIA. SEA represents a proactive approach for integrating socio-economic values with the environmentally viable development for higher levels of decision making. Currently, there are no government guidelines for SEA in India as it is not legally recognized here. However, due to rapid increase in infrastructure and developmental activities, there is a great pressure on natural resources and environment. Thus, there is a need for evolving SEA in India. Number 2, regional EIA. EIA in this context is focused on the regional planning. It integrates the environmental and economic concerns of particular region due to its development planning. This approach is also preferred as economic cum environmental development planning. This approach allows economic management of renewable natural resources without compromising the environment. Then number 3 is sectoral EIA. It refers to the EIA in specific sectors like mining, airport, township, nuclear power plant, thermal power plant, etc. It helps in addressing specific environmental problems encountered in planning and implementing sectoral development projects. The benefit of sectoral EIA is that all environmental, social and economic impacts of same type of sector are nearly similar and hence can play important role in better planning and decision making. In India, Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change has prepared 37 EIA manuals on major sectors of developmental projects, which are listed in the schedule to the Environment Impact Assessment Notification 2006. The manuals have been prepared to serve as technical guidance manuals to various stakeholders involved in the environment clearing process. The manual for each sector includes a model term of reference, technological options, processes for cleaner production, waste minimization, monitoring of environmental quality and related regulations, and procedure of obtaining environmental clearance. The fourth type are project level EIA. It refers to environmental impacts of developmental activity in isolation. It specifically targets only one developmental activity and does not effectively integrate the cumulative effects of development in the region. Steps of EIA. The basic process of EIA is shown in this chart bar diagram. The basic EIA process are presented as flow diagram in the following. We can see the proposal submitted, then it is followed by screening at first stage and then divided into three parts. One is EIA needed, another is internal assessment and is no EIA. So, based on the internal assessment, if it is decided that there is a requirement of EIA needed, then further process starts and the next step comes is the scoping. Scoping is basically to identify key impacts. Then next step comes impact assessment. After that, impact mitigation and management, EIA report, review, and in some cases where public involvement is there, after scoping, it directly goes to the for public participation, for the public hearing, and then it directly comes for the review. Then the EIA report is reviewed and further decision is taken, is either to approve or not to approve. If approved, then it is implemented and post monitoring is done. As already discussed, rapid EIA is short study for projects with limited adverse impact. Data for only one season other than monsoon is collected. In case of comprehensive EIA, long term study for projects with adverse impact, data is collected for 3 seasons other than monsoon. The EIA process involves a number of steps, some of which are listed below: screening, The projects are first screened to know whether the project requires EIA. If yes, then under what category it falls as per norms of the respective regulatory agencies. Then scoping. Scoping is identification of the key issues to be addressed in an EIA. This step involves the identification of major and significant environmental issues among the possible impacts of the project and available alternatives to minimize the environmental impacts. Alternative considerations. The purpose is to ensure that the project proponent has explored other feasibilities and alternatives. These may be location of project, layouts, operating condition, techniques, etc. Project development plan. This step involves description of project like its rationale, stages of development, location process, techniques to be used, project cost, development timeline, etc. Then identification and prediction of key impacts. Based on the baseline data and scoping, the potentially significant impacts, especially adverse and beneficial, on environment of the area are identified for project during the development phase and after completion. The magnitude of the identified impacts is predicted by comparing the environmental conditions of baseline data with the expected conditions after project implementation. Mitigation and management of environmental impacts. This involves the proposal of different measures to be taken to reduce, manage, mitigate, remediate or compensate for adverse impacts. Public hearing or consultation. Public hearing is also part of EIA in some type of projects. The purpose of public participation is to inform the public about the proposed project and its impacts on the local area. The public views or objections are integral part of the decision making process. EIA presentation and decision making. The report submitted by the environment consultant on behalf of the project proponent is scrutinized for various documents as per EIA manuals or laws. Any document deficiency is completed before submitting the report to regulatory or designated authorities for the purpose. The facts of the project starting from screening to public hearing are presented before the experts. The experts may suggest additional measures to minimize the impacts. At this stage, decisions are made by the relevant authority to whether to accept, defer or reject the project. Post decision monitoring. This comes into picture after completion of the project. The outcomes of projects after completion are recorded. These represent the actual impacts of the project. Auditing. This involves comparing actual outcomes with predicted outcomes. This can be used to assess the quality of predictions and the effectiveness of mitigation. Further, advantages of EIA. The advantages of EIA are improved project design, reduced cost and time of project, more informed decision making, increased project acceptance, more environmentally sensitive decisions, improved project performance and reduction in treatment/cleanup costs, increased accountability and transparency during the development process, improved integration of projects into their environmental and social setting, healthier local environment like forests, water resources, agricultural potential, recreational potential, aesthetic values and clean living in urban areas. Reduced environmental damage. more effective projects in terms of meeting their financial and or socio-economic objectives. Now, the EIA in India. The foundation of EIA in India was first laid in 1976 to 77. The Planning Commission instructed the Department of Science and Technology to examine the river valley projects from an environmental angle. However, this was informal and inactive. The first consolidated step for EIA was EIA notification 1994 by Union Ministry of Environment and Forests, Government of India under EPA Act 1986. The notification made the environmental clearance mandatory for any modernization activity or setting up new projects. Further, depending on the need to strengthen the EIA process, EIA notification 1994 was amended almost 13 times in 11 years. The major amendments came in the year 1997, 2000, 2002, 2003 and 2005. These are discussed in detail in the later modules. The EIA notification has been amended several times and latest notification was published in 2006. The EIA notification 2006 has been again amended several times. So, concluding, environment impact assessment is a tool used to find the impacts of any developmental or new activity on the environment before its actual start. The implementation of EIA is a welcome step in India and it is being strengthened by Government of India from time to time. And with these notes, thank you.